Hey everyone, and welcome back to HipHop Noise. Rappers are notorious for spending beyond their means because once they get a little fame, they think it'll last forever. But sadly, this is not the case for most artists. Today, we're going to be talking about the top 8 rappers who you didn't know went broke. Make sure that you stay until number 1, cause it is quite the surprise. First up at number 8, we have Rich the Kid. According to Rich's representative, Blueprint Artist Management, Rich owes them over $3.5 million in fees from an agreement that he signed back in May of 2017. Blueprint Artist Management claims that they have reached out to Rich on numerous occasions to obtain their payments, but their efforts have been to no avail. Blueprint is suing Rich for the breach of contract and is seeking monetary damages. In another report, Peter Marco from Extraordinary Jewels of Beverly Hills claims that the rapper has an outstanding bill of over $230,000 in jewelry, watches, and bracelets. According to the outlet, Marco filed court documents claiming that he was working with Rich since October 2017. The rapper has since ordered diamond necklaces, crosses, and watches worth several $100,000. The jeweler says that Rich the Kid initially made his payments via wire transfers, but the payments eventually stopped coming in. All the while, Rich continued placing jewelry orders and Marco reportedly came through with the pieces. The bills for the items, however, began to add up and Marco claims that he wasn't being paid. The jeweler is now suing Rich the Kid for what he is owed. Up next, we have Tyga. Michael Ray Stevenson, known professionally by his stage name Tyga, which is an acronym for Thank You God Always, is an American rapper. The rapper's Ferrari was repossessed recently after failing to pay for the car's lease for a few months. Ironically, Tyga and Jenner had been checking out new cars at a Bentley dealership in Calabasas when the car owner took back the rapper's current one. The leaser reportedly had a repo man pick up the car using a spare key while Tyga and Jenner were inside the dealership. This comes after a string of financial issues that Tyga has had to face over the past few months. Not long ago, the Rack City rapper had to give his landlord $186,000 after having reached a separate settlement with another property owner just weeks prior. At the time, Tyga was involved in an eviction case with another landlord who sued the rapper for the damages that he caused to a Hollywood home he was renting for $6,000 a month. Tyga, who was kicked out of the property for failing to pay rent, was forced to pay over $480,000 worth of damages, which included an automatic gate opener and ruined bathroom towels. Based on the court documents obtained by the news outlet, Tyga failed to pay rent and other amounts due when he abandoned the property without informing the owner in June of last year. The house was also found to be in horrible conditions when it was inspected. The court documents noted gross disrepair, utility bills unpaid, and hazardous environmental waste which required professional cleanup. Tyga was forced to pay over $130,000 for damages on top of over $37,000 with attorney fees. However, his financial troubles have not stopped Tyga from buying expensive gifts for his loved ones. For her birthday on August 10th, he gave Jenner a Mercedes-Benz Maybach S600 which starts at over $180,000. So then at number 6, we have Birdman. It hasn't been the best of times for rapper Birdman. First, a court official accused Birdman of stealing expensive bicycles from his recently foreclosed mansion. Now, a Florida judge has awarded a default judgment against him to one of his former employees, which is worth over $1 million. After Birdman's lender foreclosed on his mansion when he defaulted on a $12 million loan, a court-appointed official took inventory of the property and found 4 collector bikes manufactured by Gucci. The bikes subsequently disappeared. Believing Birdman took them, the official asked the judge to get them back. While Birdman's lawyer claims that the rapper gave him bikes as payment for legal services, the court official disputed this and points to a recent Instagram post made by Birdman which shows the bicycles in question along with the caption, "My Gucci bikes." In regard to the default payment, the judge awarded $1 million to Birdman's former employee, Nicholas Jose Penzo. Penzo worked for Birdman as his property manager for 2 years, performing various maintenance and other services for an agreed upon $150 a day. But after Birdman failed to pay Penzo properly for his services, Penzo sued the rapper for a little less than $9,000 in wages and an additional $15,000 in damages. All this started when Birdman didn't show up to court proceedings despite being served court papers. In response, Penzo returned to court and demanded a default judgment. Only now, he claimed compensatory damages in the amount of $1 million because all he has suffered financially, physically, and emotionally, and the judge agreed. Birdman can at least take some solace in knowing that things probably can't get much worse for him in the upcoming time, or at least he can hope it doesn't. Personally, I suggest he shows up to court this time. At number 5, we have Exhibit. Exhibit has become a prime example of what happens when you don't manage your money well or pay your taxes. After 2 gold albums, a platinum album, and a stint hosting MTV's Pimp My Ride, one would expect that Xzibit could cruise comfortably for the rest of his career, but apparently not. After the show's cancellation, Xzibit and the IRS grew to know each other more than intimately. By the end of 2010, Detroit News reported that Xzibit owed more than $950,000 in delinquent federal taxes. Even worse than this, the IRS had filed their fourth lien, which is a federal claim of property until a payer pays up. Moving into number 4, we have 50 Cent. 50 Cent blazed onto the music scene with his 2003 album, Get Rich or Die Trying. The record sold 10 million copies, debuting at number 1 on the Billboard 200. His next few albums were successful as well, with his rap group G-Unit's debut album peaking at number 2 on Billboard, and his second album, The Massacre, also reaching the same spot. The rapper soon began to make moves to build upon his newfound wealth. He partnered with Vitamin Water, which was sold to Coca-Cola in 2007 for $4.1 billion. According to Capital Extra, 50 Cent may have made between $60 to $100 million from this deal. 50 Cent filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in June 2015. According to Rolling Stone, he was prompted to file after losing a revenge porn lawsuit to a woman named Lastonia Leviston. Business Insider reported that the rapper was ordered to pay $6 million to Leviston, who appeared in a sex tape with Rick Ross, a nemesis of 50 Cent. The Poor Little Rich rapper allegedly posted the footage online without her permission, along with his own commentary. 50 Cent's bankruptcy case was resolved in July 2016. The rapper had to pay $23 million to his creditors over a 5-year period. This included $6 million to Leviston, along with over $16 million to Sleek Audio. Still, 50 Cent is slowly regaining his wealth. He's no stranger to the art of the comeback. He infamously survived being shot 9 times, proving that above all, he's incredibly resilient. According to Celebrity Net Worth, 50 Cent currently has a net worth of $30 million. While that's a far cry from his April 2014 net worth of $500 million, that still is more than I have. Next up, number 3, we have Maze. Maze is a rap pioneer, but he is not the first rapper to go broke. His career began in 1997 after he released his album Harlem World, which sold over 250,000 copies the week it was released. His sudden success made rap listeners from all over anticipate him as the next big star. He was able to create a record label, All Out Records, with his revenue. Maze went all out in all aspects of his life, including big old purchases. This resulted in the star owing over $125,000 in taxes. He filed for divorce from his wife of 12 years, Twyla Betha, in January and demanded full custody of their children, and that she pay him child support. But that's not all. Maze and Twyla built a successful brand around their marriage and co-wrote the book series, What Do You Do After I Do? While Maze filed for divorce citing irreconcilable differences around January, he recently had a change of heart and withdrew his claim. According to the reports, the longtime couple are allegedly working it out. At number 2, we have Ja Rule. The rapper, born Jeffrey Atkins, was raised by his mother in Hollis, Queens. For the boy who would become Ja Rule, the neighborhood represented a duality. Crime, drugs, and violence were common, but so were the intoxicating sounds and culture of hip-hop. It didn't hurt that he would sometimes spot fellow Hollis residents Run DMC strolling the streets. In a new memoir called Unruly: The Highs and Lows of Becoming a Man, the rapper offers his take on what came next: breakout success, bitter rivalries, Hollywood, and fatherhood. Ja Rule hit the peak of his fame in the early 2000s and collaborated with nearly every other prolific rap artist at the time. According to the title of his highest earning album, Pain is Love, he should love paying taxes. However, this is clearly not the case because he owes over $1 million in taxes. Couple this with a 2-year prison stint from 2011 to 2013, and he's been having more and more roadblocks preventing him from paying his debts. And finally, number 1, TPain. TPain almost lost a $6 million house in Atlanta, and later, he went from having $40 million to his name to having no money left in the bank due to bad investments and other bad spending habits. He explained at one point that it got so bad he had to borrow money from his kid's Burger King. Rapper and singer TPain has one of the top singles in the country with Buy You a Drink, but just a few years ago he was contemplating giving up his musical aspirations. TPain had tried for years to make it big in the industry, producing music for others as well as performing for the rap group Nappy Heads, but operating on aspiration alone doesn't pay, so TPain was broke. Luckily for him, singer and producer Akon stepped in and signed TPain to his label, Convict Music. According to TPain, the most horrible time was the day that Akon called him. He called him right when TPain went to get his application from McDonald's. TPain was giving up. He was literally in his dad's house, renting his studio out, running it off a generator outside. People couldn't even record. The people who lived The people who lived behind him were calling the police because of the noise ordinance, because that generator was running all day and night. He was eating mayonnaise out of a jar. Man, it was bad. He used to sit in front of McDonald's and ask people to get him a cheeseburger. Then one day, TPain went to get that application. He had been hanging out in front of there so much, he knew the managers, so he had no problem getting a job or anything. He went to go get the application, and that's when Akon called him and saved his life. Hey, since you're still here, go ahead and click one of these two videos on your screen. See you there.